um, because I just left my TikTok show and when I'm on my YouTube show, and let me get some things right. I want to make sure I can see my comments here. Um, we was just, it's so many people now doing a mock draft. I mean, it's really funny listening to all the pundits do a mock draft and listening to um, people do a mock draft, and it's all over social media. I mean, it's all over social media. People are really, really doing all these mock drafts, and I'm saying to myself, if one thing I've learned about watching football, the NFL, in all these years, is nobody knows who's going to go where. I it's funny to me. The reason why I say it's funny to me is because every year that we watch the draft, something happens in that draft that we don't expect to happen. We have no earthly idea what's going to go on, and that makes it exciting for us. It makes it really, really exciting for us. Now, the funny thing is, as I sit here and talk to nobody, I love doing this though, by the way. The funny thing is, when I'm watching a draft, I'm looking at how many, I guess you could say, how many people got it wrong. Like, and I'm also looking for that player who nobody sees coming. Because every year, every single draft that we've ever had, it's a player or two, and sometimes three players come out of that draft that we don't see coming. I mean, and it's so many examples of drafts going by. I mean, like, if at one time we in the draft used to watch who was going to be Mr. Irrelevant. Mr. Irrelevant. He comes out, he's the last person picked, probably is not going to make the team. And the two most talked about people in the draft is the first round overall pick and the last person to be picked. And we got the shock of our freaking life. We got the shock of our life when Brock Purdy came out, the last person to be picked in the draft. And he has been shocking us ever since, to the tune of almost $50 million a year, because somebody missed him. Somebody missed him. Now you got all these professionals and all these people making all this money, and they miss a talent like Brock Purdy. They just missed it. I mean, you had to miss him if he was being picked freaking last. You had to miss him. And every year we do these mock drafts and we do all these different things. And it'd be funny, which I literally watch the draft sometimes. No, that's not true. All the time when I'm watching the draft to see what they're saying about certain players. And then when I see that player in the NFL and he balling out and you're saying to yourself, where he came from? Well, who is that? What's up, Mary? I mean, who is that? So I'm saying, I appreciate that, Mary. I'm sitting up here and I'm telling everybody, don't sit there and listen to these pundits talk about the NFL draft and not do your own thinking. Like, because somebody you've seen play in college, and I'm not big on college football, somebody that you've seen in college can ball, and they're gonna miss him. They're gonna miss him totally. I give you an example. You can watch a team that's, I guess you could say, not that good in college, and you see a player just stands out among all the other players on their team, and you can bet that he'll probably be drafted in the fourth round. Let me explain something to y'all. L'Jarius Sneed was drafted in the fourth round to the Kansas City Chiefs. I knew about L'Jarius Sneed because he played for Louisiana Tech. I live in Louisiana. They had one of the best defenses in their conference. No, they had the best defense in their conference. He came from a slab of good defensive player at Louisiana Tech. So when he came to Kansas City and started balling out, I wasn't surprised because I knew he can play, and he got picked in the fourth round. David Montgomery home and Isaiah Pacheco. You know what I'm talking about, Cowboy. I mean, so we do this, and so what I did on my TikTok show is I took those guys and I said, forget about what you see in a mock draft. The hell with that. Let me put you in the general manager seat, and you think for yourself. What would you do with the trades that you have? I'm sorry, with the picks that you have. If you pick in first, second, third, how would you maneuver that to make it even more? Or better yet, how would you turn that pick into something special? Like in other words, it's easy to say I'm gonna pick this guy. If this guy is a bust, if he's a bust, you don't get any more picks. The more picks you have, the bigger the chance is that you're gonna find somebody in there that's really, really good. And some players come out in the first round and especially in the top 10 and they live up to their billing, right? But some players don't. Some players would draft. I know it's some players that were drafted in the top 10 in so many different drafts that didn't do anything. They didn't even stay in the league 3 or 4 years. And we do that every single year. What we do is we say, this player is going to be a generational talent. This player is going to be this player is going to be that. And there's a fifth rounder or a sixth rounder just sitting there with all this talent and you can't see him. And then training camp starts and you're like, who is this guy? And what was he picked at in the sixth round? Who is that guy? I mean, he can ball, he can play. And then next thing you know, you got this great story because this guy is playing in the Super Bowl, and they're gonna do this great story saying, "Oh my God, he was a sixth round draft pick." Like that's actually a good thing. That's not a good thing. If you saw a sixth round draft pick become a superstar in the NFL, or a third round draft pick become a superstar in the NFL, or a fifth round draft pick become a superstar, that means you missed him. That means somebody missed him. Somebody passed over him. That's why I say put yourself in the general manager spot. Put yourself, do it yourself. If you were the general manager, would you take this guy? Would you take this guy? I mean, these general managers have 20, 30 people just sitting there watching football players in college all day long. That's what they do. And they still miss these guys. I mean, like it kills me. Like, for instance, do we really have scouts anymore? And if the scouts are, Andy Reid told a great story. He said he was Andy Reid. Yeah, it was Andy Reid. They came to the way he found Travis Kelce. They came to watch someone else for Cincinnati, and Travis Kelce just stood out. But he was afraid of Travis Kelce because he was so off the hinge at that time. He was a wild child. But he was afraid of him. So he called his brother and said, because he knew his brother, and called his brother and said, what's up with Travis? And his brother gave good things about Travis, and Travis went on to be the tight end that he is. Do you have any idea how many times scouts go to a team and looking at one guy, and this other guy just jumps off the freaking page at him? And they're like, whoa, who is that guy? I mean, because you miss them every single time. So when we doing these mock drafts, we're basically doing a mock draft based on what some pundit has said. ESPN, Fox Sports, CBS Sports. You're looking at that stuff and then you're agreeing with it. And some people watch college football and they watch this player, and this player is doing a great job. He's doing this, he's doing that. J-Mo. When J-Mo came out, Jameson Williams from Detroit, when he came out, man, I'm gonna be honest with you, I wanted the Chiefs to get him so bad. And I want them to get George Pickens. I want them to get J-Mo. The Chiefs needed a receiver. I didn't care about anything other than the talent I was watching. And I kept saying to myself, why did they pass on these guys? They could have moved up to get J-Mo. They didn't make no maneuvers to get these guys. And then as soon as they got in the league, I can see, even though they had this great, unbelievable talent, I can still see why they didn't go that direction. Because J-Mo got in trouble his first year. George Pickens basically came in the league as a diva. Those are things that they can see, and they did a good job with that. Because you don't want you don't want that crap in your locker room. You just don't. I mean, so I'm just trying to get you guys to understand it for those of y'all who are watching. Use your own eyes, use your own mind when you're looking at college players. I hear so many people, they're pumping up. They're pumping it up, pumping it up. Oh, this person, they're pumping this person up. They're pumping this person up. I mean, and you don't really understand that what they have done is they watch this player in college, they have grown biased to this player, and they give them so many points and put them high on the board. And I like that for them kids because those kids, that's how those kids get to be in the first round and the second round and all that stuff. But I'm gonna be honest with y'all. How many people in the second round that should be in the first? How many people in the first round that should be in the third? Like, I mean, because the hype behind you is gonna make your play, the hype behind you is gonna make look, it's what I'm saying is it's just they got a kid right now. He plays in Mississippi. His last name is Veal. His mom is close friends to my wife. This boy can ball. This boy can play. But he plays for a very small school. And he started as a sophomore. Let me put it that way. His next year is a junior year. Nobody's talking about him. And they're not going to be talking about him when he's a senior. If he enters the NFL draft, he's probably a fifth or sixth rounder. And this boy can ball. I watch a lot of football guys. This boy can play. He's multi-sport. He can play. He actually can play baseball better than he can play football. I mean, but nobody's talking about this kid because of why? He goes to a Division II school. Nobody's really watching any school in Mississippi, especially a Division II school. They miss guys like this. He may even become an undrafted free agent. How many undrafted free agents in the NFL right now that balling out? And you're like, well, wait a minute, how did he go undrafted? So how many players coming out of college that's not going to even be, their name is never going to be called during the NFL draft, and they got to get an invitation to go try out for a football team. We put so much emphasis on the draft and everything that you're talking about now. Now there is players that come out that are generational talent. We can see it in college. They get to the pros and they show you in the pros. There's so many different examples of that. I mean, like Peyton Manning was that. I mean, Peyton Manning was that guy. Then when he came out and when he retired, he was still that guy. I mean, Dan Marino. I mean, these guys were awesome. And when they got in the pros, they showed you they were awesome. And but what's really funny is that's starting to become an anomaly now. Because normally, let's be honest. Quarterback for Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence, when he came out, he was first overall pick. He ain't lived up to that. Look at Kyle Pitts for the tight end for the Atlanta Falcons. He was number 6? He was picked number 6 in the first round. He ain't lived up to that. I mean, that's what I'm saying. But watch this though. You give an undrafted free agent or a late round pick an opportunity in the NFL, and they'll show you the world because they got an opportunity to show you, okay, y'all miss me. Y'all miss. Look, should I even bring up Tom Brady? Like, who missed that guy? How did you miss that guy? You know what cannot be measured in an NFL draft? It's the heart of the player. The NFL draft is all about numbers and speed and this, but nobody measures the heart. Like, in other words, I'm going to work hard to be a great football player. Because if y'all haven't noticed, late draft picks, they tend to work real hard. If you really understand how it works, if I'm not mistaken, it's the first round, the second round, and the third round make the team. They're going to either be on the roster or on the practice squad, but they're going to make the team. But a fourth round, fifth round, sixth round, they don't automatically make the team. They got to make the team, and then they got to fight for playing time. So even though they're excited, y'all ever notice? You don't see a third round, a fourth round, or a fifth round walk across the stage. Their name just comes up at the bottom of the freaking screen. They may show you some highlights on them, they may not. But in other words, they're a fourth or fifth round pick. And I'm telling you guys, the NFL and these NFL scouts, although they're good at what they do, they miss people. People that you and I may see. And we'll say stuff like, hey man, y'all need to watch out for this kid, Ville, coming out of Mississippi. Y'all need to watch out. Y'all, you know, it's Millhouse College, I believe, something like that. The dude can ball. I'm not playing. This dude was getting playing time as a freshman. This dude is freaking balling out as a sophomore. He had one of his best years in football. Next year, he's going to probably be better, and he's balling out in baseball. I've had him on my show because this dude can play. Character on point. Nice guy, humble guy. You would never know this guy can ball out. Shy guy, you would never know that. But when you get on the field, he's like a beast. So I'm trying to get everybody to understand where I'm coming from. Don't put so much stock into where you see this draft. What they telling you about this draft, I ain't buying it. They're telling you basically there's no quarterbacks coming out of this draft that's worth picking in the first round other than Mendoza. And you watch these guys in college. I didn't watch them. I didn't watch them at all. I'm telling you right now, this is just pure knowledge from what I know in football. That's bullshit. Somebody is going to come out of this draft that's just going to probably get picked in the second round or the third round. And it may be a quarterback that's going to get in the NFL and going to ball out. And you're going to be like, he wasn't doing that in college? What happened? What was going on? Or was he doing it in college? Law and Simpson, man, they're going to have a proven wrong. Yeah, you see, Eddie knows what I'm talking about. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. When you get these late round draft picks, they have a chip on their shoulder. Oh, you didn't. I should have been a first rounder. Y'all have to think about this. Jalen Hurts was a second round pick. Y'all think Jalen Hurts, from what you've seen in the NFL right now, you think Jalen Hurts should have been a second round pick or a late first round pick? Ask yourself. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I've seen Jalen Hurts play good enough to say I could have warranted a late first round pick. I've also seen him play bad enough to where I can say he could actually be a fifth round pick. So maybe that's not a good example. But Brock Purdy, which is why I started my show out with. Brock Purdy has showed you nothing other than Brock Purdy should have been definitely a higher pick than the last pick of the draft. I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, Brock Purdy is so consistent, I would say that Brock Purdy should have been in the first round, in the draft. When I mentioned to y'all Tom Brady, and I tell you Tom Brady was like a 6th round draft pick, how does that make you think? Tom Brady? Yeah, Tom Brady. Like, really, I'm going to be honest with y'all. For certain generations, when a first round draft pick came out, at one time, it was no such thing as a bust. These guys came out and they could play. Now, these guys, I mean, come on. What was the year that they drafted Mac Jones? Mac Jones, Justin Fields, Zach, I forgot Zach's name. Zach Wilson. Like that. All these guys came out in the same draft. And I kept saying, and they were saying this is in NFL history, this is the best quarterback class ever. How'd that work out? Mac Jones is a backup quarterback. Zach Wilson is a backup quarterback. Justin Fields is a backup quarterback. They were always backup quarterbacks. But they hyped them up so much to the point where, oh my God, they're going to be so great. Hell, and I was one of the biggest people saying they missed Justin Fields. Justin Fields is going to be good. He's going to be this. No, I was one of those guys. I mean, and now here's the funny thing. Kyler Murray, y'all may not remember this, but if I'm not mistaken, Kyler Murray was the first overall pick. Kyler Murray, somebody who had to sign a contract to make him look at film. I mean, they've been missing for years. But nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about it because now. But here's the thing: these general managers now, they're starting to understand. No, no, no. You know, when we draft him, he's starting. Let's see what we got right now. That's bad. I don't agree with that. I'm not saying I agree with that. I mean, but I'm just saying Michael Jordan, Muhammad Ali, Will Smith. I don't know what you're talking about. So what I guess what I'm saying is, guys, at some point we gotta start really using our own mind and our own eyes, and uh, not to just listen so much to the pundits. Tell you who's gonna be the best person in the draft. Like I was just thinking about this. One of the things that I'm gonna do next year, in the next not this year NFL draft, but next year NFL draft. I'm gonna get serious about my college football. I'm gonna get serious about watching players from all types of schools. Because somewhere right now, there's a player that's not gonna be drafted that will be one of the superstars in the NFL right now. Probably from this draft. He's not gonna be drafted, but he came out this year and he's gonna walk onto somebody's team and show you. Yeah, if I said Everson Walls walked on, Everson Walls was not freaking drafted. One of the best cornerbacks to ever play the game. Wasn't even drafted. Walked on to the Dallas Cowboys. Made the team. Won Rookie of the Year. I mean, it was, I'm sorry, Defensive Player of the Year. The Defensive Rookie of the Year. Just walked on. We put so much emphasis on what the sports pundits tell us to the point to where we become robots. And all we do is recite what they say. And they're not always right. And what's really funny is when you're watching the draft and they didn't get it right, then they come up with, I didn't expect that team to do this. I expected them to go this way. And I expected them to, I think they made a mistake. Then you grade the teams by the draft. None of these players have played not one damn down, and you grade the teams and said, this team they get a D minus because they didn't pick their needs, and their needs are this, and that. When they just say they have a need, linebacker, but they already know that they have somebody in their locker room that's going to be a great linebacker. We don't know that they know that, so they don't pick a linebacker in the draft, and then the fans go nuts. Oh my God, we need a linebacker, and they didn't even draft a linebacker when they already have one sitting right there in their locker room. But you know nothing about them because you can't see them in practice. You can't see them doing the things they do, and they know what they're weak at, so they got to fix this and fix that. Then they fix it. What's up around them? They fix all this stuff. I mean, and then when they fix all of it, hold on, I got a spammer here. I got a spam, guys. Hold on. I don't do well with spammers. So I'm just trying to get everybody to understand something. Please stop putting so much stock in what the pundits tell you on ESPN, on Fox, and do your own research. You probably would help sometimes if you have a favorite player in college and you know that this player can ball, but you say nothing. You just keep it to yourself. When you have all this social media and you don't realize that you have power too, because you can say that in a post or you can say, watch out for this player. And sometimes that player, it gets on the radar of the NFL. And then they say, well, at least a player can get a look at their highlights. Because they don't have them on their list. They're not on their board. They're not, what was the movie? And I know it's just a movie, and we don't know if they got everything true. If they put everything in there right. The movie with Sandra Bullock talking about the offensive tackle. Oh shit! I cannot believe I can't think of the name of the movie. But either way it go, he takes a guy and blocks his ass all the way out of all the way out of the field. When that happens, that person becomes on the radar. He's on the radar now. How many players out there that are not only even on the radar, that are sitting right now, they're senior year, they play great, they know they can play the game of football, They're talking to an agent right now, and that agent is telling them, hey man, I can do the best I can, but don't nobody really know anything about you. If you get drafted, you're gonna probably get drafted in the last round. If you don't get drafted, you're an undrafted free agent. I gotta help you get a tryout for a team. How many times y'all think an agent tell that to somebody? And they can ball, but nobody knows that they can ball. So then when they go out and they get a chance to ball, they ball out. And then all of a sudden everybody's like, well, what happened? How did you miss that player? Well, you missed that player because they may have had 4 or 5 superstars on their team and they were on the bench. Because y'all don't really understand what they do to players. If you're on the bench and somebody from I call it the D1, he's ahead of you and you're like, he's not even better than me. He's not better than me. I tear his ass up. Or I tore him up in high school. I tore him up in practice. I tore him up. But because he came highly recruited, I got no playing time. So now you get in the NFL, somebody gives that guy a shot. And when somebody gives that guy a shot, he shows everybody, I should have been starting in college. I was better than that guy. And then the other guy just disappears. But yet we didn't put him on we didn't put that guy on our board. And we just said he's a top 10, he's a generational, he's this, he's that, he's this. But they had a guy behind him that was much better, and nobody even got a chance to see it because he was behind him. So you got maybe 1 year of footage on this guy when you got 3 years of footage on that guy, and you're looking at this guy, man, this guy's awesome. He's just, we ain't looking at character, we ain't looking at work ethic, we ain't looking at none of those things. We just looking at talent. This guy's so talented. Shamar Stewart was drafted in the first round, a big old deal about his contract. And finally he gets on the field. What did he do? I'm waiting. He didn't do anything. Now watch this. If he go out this year and he don't perform, then we can say, you know what? Those favorite lines, he's a bust. Right now, then it's gonna come up to his 4th year, and he's gonna have the best season ever. It's contract year. I'm filling out an application to go to somebody else or to get a re-sign. So it's contract year. And why is that happening? Why? Because chances are he shouldn't have been in the first round anyway. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen to Shamar Stewart. I don't know that. I'm not saying, I'm just using his name as an example. I'm just saying that's what we do, though, right? That's what we do as NFL fans. We listen to everything that they say, and we just walk down the line. What was his name? All these guys have these mock drafts now, and they get on TV, and some of them got famous. Mel Kiper has gotten famous for having literally a mock draft. Now, if you go back, Mel Kiper, I don't know if it was Mel Kiper, but one of the pundits said that Lamar Jackson should play wide receiver. One of the pundits said that Patrick Mahomes was too wild. Too wild, he's a project. Matter of fact, Shannon Sharp said, I'm not paying a project $5 million a year. How much of a project you think Mahomes is now? Now, what I'm trying to tell you guys is these guys, although professional, although they'll get a lot of money, doesn't mean they know everything about those players. They're doing the same thing that you would do. They look at highlights, they look at film, they may watch a couple of games, and then they give you an assessment of their player. They don't get to know their player, they don't hang out with their player, they don't go eat lunch with their player, they don't know anything about the character. One of the things that I love that Andy Reid does at the Combine, he tries to talk to all the players. He tries to get to know the players. Like, for instance, I think it was Jaden Daniels said that the Chiefs talked to him when he was at the Combine or when he was coming out, and he was trying to figure out why the Chiefs want to talk to me. But that's what they do because they want to know what kind of person you are. Why do they do stuff like that? Well, right now the Chiefs don't need a quarterback for a lot of years to come. But who's to know that one day Jaden Daniels is not on their team? Because y'all know how that works. Players get old, they get traded, they retire, things happen, they get and you don't see it coming. So I'm just gonna ask the audience, the small audience that I have, man, listen up. Do your own research on these players. Stop using words like they're generational talent because you don't know that. You just know they're really good at what they do. But you don't know their work ethic. You don't know how they're going to handle their playbook. Y'all know NFL playbook? Yeah, you coming from a college and you got a playbook about that small. You get to the NFL, you got a binder. And you got to know your position plus what everybody else is doing. Some players don't catch on. So if you're wondering why they're still on the practice squad, that's why they're on the practice squad. They don't know the plays. They can play. They just don't know the plays. They don't know the schemes. They don't know what the blocking assignments. And if you don't know the blocking assignments in the NFL, you get somebody killed. All of these things, that's what we should be focusing on. That's what we should be about. All the rest of that BS, it's just BS. That's exactly what it is. So it really irks me when I hear people saying that a player ain't shit or this player is generational talent, and you giving this player no love whatsoever, but you're giving this player and you're praising this player. Then the player gets in the NFL and he shit the bed. And when he shit the bed, that player that you just said that wasn't nothing now is a superstar, and you forget that you said these things. That's why when I was doing my show today, I put those guys in a hot seat and let them be the general manager. Now tell me what you would do with this draft pick. Tell me what you would do. Who would you pick? How would you handle this? What would you do? And it's funny because someone was like, well, Swag, we can't do that in 4 minutes, 5 minutes. Right. But the general manager, even though he have days coming up to this draft to get himself together, he still don't have 10 minutes on the clock to make the decision. It's not for everybody. For those of y'all who watch this show, thank y'all. This is my second show on YouTube. I'm excited because I know how this show is going to be. The more and more I keep talking, but the more and more how big this show is going to get. So thank you guys for following me and supporting me. But listen, I want to tell you, make sure you're on the show tomorrow. We're going to do round 2. If you come from TikTok, we're going to do round 2 of talking about what it's like to be a GM when it comes to the draft. And this is your boy Swag. Peace. I'm out. La 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 la.